Okay, so FM24 has been announced. Of course, we've got all the new features in here. Dad, today we're going to talk about it, all the new features, because I think it could affect how our content is going forward, where we do versus rebuilds.
It will for me.
Challenges, yeah.
So
I think it's worth talking about and seeing how it's going to affect it, and you know, whether it's going to affect it to the point where we have to change the way we do things or not.
It's going to affect me personally in some good ones as well. I think definitely there, but in some ones it's going to really affect me. Making it harder for me.
Make it difficult. So, I mean, let's take a look at the smarter transfers first. We'll go in order of how it was pretty much announced, to be fair. Smarter transfers, squad building, and finance. The finance one's going to be quite funny for you, I think.
Yeah, definitely,
the smarter transfers, this is more about the AI stuff. So, I mean, we kind of disagree about this, some of it, because it says, like, they're now programmed, AI managers are now programmed to consider factors like form and reputation more than ever before when they're recruiting players. I'd argue that's already the case.
Definitely, 100%.
Yeah, because how much do we struggle to sell players when they're not in form? Or
well, we can't, can we? Sometimes we're trying to give players away for 2 million, 3 million less than what they're worth.
Yeah.
Because we haven't played them, so you can't get rid of them.
No.
And you got a player then who's worth, say, 1 million, and you got 10 people who are after him because you've played him for half a season.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
So that's, you know, those types of things, I kind of agree that's already in the game, or disagree that it's going to be a new feature. I think it's already in the game. But there are obviously other things that they have announced which might help those scenarios going forward. The intermediaries, etc., which we'll take a look at in a second. AI managers now geared up for imbalances in the squad and stuff like that. And if they're a gegenpress style of manager, they're going to do gegenpress style of things. But all this, I don't think it's really going to affect us.
No.
Unless it's them buying our players, where we kind of think it's already the case of that. Variation to player development, although I don't think it's going to affect us too much, because it's more about you can have late bloomers in the game, or, you know, really like early starters in their development, like a Wayne Rooney, etc., or Jude Bellingham. The late developers, obviously, is like a nod to a Jamie Vardy, for example.
Yeah.
As much as I don't think, obviously, this is going to affect our style of content, I love that that's in
I think it'd be good, because, you know, there's nothing better than finding a player that you haven't found before.
Yeah.
And he's the right age, so he's got the right physique and things like that, and you can put him into the team straight away.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what happens with these late developers when they come through. You know, all of a sudden, you know, they start playing really well, and everybody's after them.
Yeah, I like the idea of a fairy tale player.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Like a Jamie Vardy, where, you know, he was in non-league in his mid-20s, and all of a sudden he wins the Premier League. Becomes the top scorer.
Who would think it,
Yeah, so I love that that's in the game. I think that's fantastic. This is where it's going to start affecting us, and especially you more than me, I think.
Definitely, yeah.
With the balance in the book. So there's going to be a lot of changes to the finance system in FM24, which I quite like in some ways. You can now overspend your available funds, and as we can see here, you can have a minus transfer budget. And I can tell you right now, there's two of us sat here looking at this screen. One of us will be doing that quite a lot, and it isn't this guy.
Yeah, it will be me.
You obviously don't see a lot behind the scenes, but a lot of the time I'm going, Dad, you can't afford him. You can't. You have to sell somebody if you want to do that.
The wages one bucks me up all the time, doesn't it?
The wages one, every single £100 million challenge that we have, is one of the scenarios that does affect, that does muck you up quite a lot. So yeah, we can now have minus transfer budget, which can obviously quite affect your finances, to the point where the AI can then take over your club.
Yeah.
Or the board will take over your club and start selling players without you having anything to do with it. So you get a bit of a slap on the wrist and you lose your players.
And it's going to be your top players, isn't it? Because they're going to want some money back,
well, yeah, because as we know, we can't sell any of the ones that are not your top players.
That's right, yeah, that's a problem, isn't it?
Okay, so there's something a little bit more about the financial
They're giving
fair
to you
play.
with one hand, but they're going to take it away with the other hand. Yeah. That's what they're doing, isn't it, really?
That's it. A bit more about the financial fair play, but if you're Man City, just be the Man City manager. It doesn't affect you then.
Yeah.
It even says it in here in the text somewhere. The new and dynamic income streams, again, that's stuff that I don't think we really need to worry about too much, to be fair. Our most intelligent market yet. I like the idea of it having a little bit more to do with the finances, etc. But I think just that one thing there with the going over your budget and the AI taking over.
It does make you think about what you're doing a little bit more when you are buying the players. So
yeah,
not bad.
I agree. So out of 5 then, Dad, what would you say to those changes there? Mainly the financial one, because that's what's going to affect us the most, to be fair, because I don't think the smarter transfers is really going to affect us the most.
I'm going to give it a 3.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is that because you're like, this is really going to affect me?
Yeah.
I think it's a good addition. I'm also going to go for a 3, to be fair, because I don't think it's game changing. I don't think it's going to be like meta breaking for us to the point where we can never, we have to change to complete the way we're doing it. But I think it's a good addition that we might come across every now and then, especially at like the lower
I think when we go to lower leagues,
clubs.
That's where we're going to really struggle, I think, then.
Yeah. With clubs without the financial backing that some clubs
which
might
really
have.
that makes it more realistic. So
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, on to then introducing intermediaries and offloading players. When I heard that this was a thing, I was buzzing for it.
Yeah, definitely. I think we're both over this one, aren't we, really?
Yeah, reading up a little bit more about it, I'm like, okay, I'm intrigued by how it works.
Yeah.
And if it works the way that I'm interpreting it and it's being put across, then fantastic. But I've always like got that doubt in my mind. It's like, oh, is it going to be... And I'm not going to use... Like the squad plan last year, I'm like, oh, that could be class. And then I'm like, I don't ever have to use it. Like, if I don't use it, I don't get punished for using it, or there's no benefits from using it.
No.
So this is what I'm going to be thinking with this, because what it's basically saying is now you can speak to the agent and try and drum up interest in your players here from a transfer drop-down menu. So instead of where we go offer to clubs, which we do a lot during the rebuilds.
Definitely do, yeah.
Offer to clubs and seeing if we can get which kind of annoy a player.
Yeah.
You can now speak to the player and have a chat with their agent more.
Which now is the next paragraph, which I think is quite good, of how...
you put it across.
Yeah, the word they're using there is desperate to get rid of this player. And sometimes we are desperate to get rid of a player because it's a wage that we don't want in our team.
Yeah.
He can be a player that's not worth a lot, but he's on a big wage, and he just doesn't want to leave you because he can't go to anybody else because they won't pay his wage either. Yeah. And that's the players you sort of really struggle to get rid of, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think the words that they use in there are desperate to get rid of him, or you're just keen to get rid of him,
or even curious.
Or is anybody interested in him? Then that's the things that you sort of, I think that's quite good.
Yeah, because what I'm thinking in regards to our type of content with that is there are times where like, I don't really know how I can improve my team right now. We come across that quite often where in Season 3, Season 4, we've built good teams. We've got 40 million in the transfer budget and we're like, I don't really know where I'm going to put that money.
No.
Now there's like, okay, I'm curious to know whether we can sell that player.
Yeah.
Because if we can, then I can go, right, I need to direct my thought process in the transfer market towards that position.
That position, yeah, definitely.
Whereas I think where the offer to clubs option doesn't give you the relationship with the agent and the player. Once you offer to clubs, that's a commitment to that player. Like, you don't want me anymore.
Yeah.
And it drives down their morale.
Yeah.
So we're going to piss off the player as it would. But I think that option would be, I'm curious if you're willing to sell, but only at the right price.
Yeah.
That's like to a player like, I don't mind selling you if it's for the right price.
Yeah.
So it's not telling the player, get out of my club.
Yeah, he knows where you stand. And I don't really want you to go, but if the right price comes in, would you be willing to go?
Yeah,
and that's
So
that's a different conversation, really. Isn't it?
I agree,
yeah.
And I hope that's how it is played out in the game, where like you don't completely destroy a player's morale from that, because there are times where we're unsure whether we want to sell a player or not.
Yeah.
So that's the best way of going about it. So that's a good.
Or even sometimes it comes up that an outstanding player is available that you can actually afford and his wages but you're thinking to yourself, do I or don't it, because my best player plays in that same position, but this player could be a little bit better.
Yeah.
So then you're thinking, I could buy this player. If this player would go, I still get 20 million back, even though I spent 30 million on the new player.
Yeah.
And that's a nice thought then, because it's only costing 10 million then.
Yeah.
That's
for quick maths.
Where sometimes we struggle because we're using 30 million for that player, but we can't get rid of any other player. So it is 30 million for a player that we've already got.
Yeah,
is around about the same sort of quality.
Yeah,
really, isn't it?
I agree. So for just this alone, the using agents for a better transfer market, what would you give this out of 5?
I'm going to give this a 4.5. I think that's really close to what we really and I'm the same as you. It's that doubt.
Yeah,
that loses the alpha point.
Yeah. I'm going to go for a 4 because of that doubt, because I like what it's describing, and It's just one of those where it's like, because if it doesn't have too much of effect, I won't use it.
No.
Whereas 2 football managers ago, the ask agent of a player you want to buy was game changing for me, because that was, I never know how much I'm gonna be able to buy this player for, whether he's interested or not. But now you have the option to go and ask agent for availability, and he tells you straight away, my player's interested, or my player has doubts. Then it gives you an updated price, an updated what his wages want.
And you know, if he's doubtful, you just give him a little bit more wages, don't you?
Yeah.
Because really, that's what he's asking for.
This is why he gets the bad finances out of the 2. So
I really want him, so I think I'll just give him an extra 10,000.
Yeah, that's my doubt. But if it has the same effect as what that button did, that could be a game changer for
definitely,
me.
Yeah.
So I'm up for that. I think that's really good. So, however your intention to sell a player catches a player by surprise and they don't want to leave, the agent will refuse to engage in attempts to sell them, and you may need to go over their head. So that's when we then annoy them. So that's the which obviously is going to happen in real life. We don't deny that whatsoever. Okay. So that's more of the agent stuff, which I thought was quite good, to be fair. We've also added some upgrades to the Ask Agent about availability, which is good.
Yeah.
Like we just said, we use that button all the time, which was introduced in FM22. Now minimum fee release clauses and expected contract lengths are included in the player's bullet point list of demands.
I think that's good, because a lot of the time I don't see that, do I?
No.
You pointed out to me, he's got a release clause in that, and it could be only... sometimes it's been less than what I was going to put money on it, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, I've said, I'll give 10 million for him, and you've got a release clause for 5.
Yeah.
And I'll have the 5 then.
Yeah.
So I think that is really good.
But that's like when you go to buy a player, they can say, I want a release clause for this much.
The only problem with that, though, that backfires on you as in your team, though, isn't it? If someone comes in for one of your players and you've got a release clause on him, bang, he's gone, isn't it?
Yeah. So now you can then discuss with the agent beforehand that, you can also contest some of these items, either working with the agent to seek more favourable release clause, so like, no, that's way too low for me, we want it a little bit higher, or asking demands to remain up for discussion until you enter formal negotiations when you eventually offer that contract.
It's good, because then you've got to look into your players' contracts a little bit more.
Yes,
and
I
make
agree.
sure the players that you really want to keep, you've got to make sure you've looked at that.
Yeah, I agree. So the next one, which this is a good one for me, the evolve your squad with new intermediaries. So if you want to sell your players but their agent isn't cooperating, or the offers don't meet your expectations, you can now hire an intermediary to help facilitate a sale. I think our biggest problem during rebuilds is selling players. We mention it time and time again. We either go seasons where it just seems like all of our players are just leaving us because we've had a good season and it's usually all your best players, or we don't hardly sell any players. And to be fair, we don't get a lot of comments about it because I think people always realise that that's the case. And that, to me, is unrealistic.
Yeah.
Because in a real world squad, you tend to see 10 players go out, 10 players come in, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes we go rebuilds where the only players who go out are the ones that run out of contract because we physically can't sell anybody.
There's 22 players in the squad, so you got all these players that are there. You can't use them at all.
No.
So it's like Chelsea. What Chelsea got is such a massive squad that they always let players go out, and when the transfer window's finished and all that, on loan and all that. And that's just one of the reasons why, because they can't get rid of the players and things like that. So when you got someone who can come in like this, I think it'll be good, really, for the game.
I agree. So what the intermediaries is going to be is somebody is almost like a broker that recruited by your director of football, that you can then help generate new interest in a player and assist with securing a move for a percentage of the final transfer fee. And the good thing is, I've mentioned down here, the maximum it will be is 10%.
That's good.
But the best thing about this is the fact that you can choose a player. So you can see here from the transfer, you can hire intermediary to sell a player. So we struggle so much sometimes with selling players. Even if like it's one of our good players, you get scenarios sometimes where it's like they're really good and we can't sell them. Or you get it quite often where like you always do it, and I think you fall for every time. There's a player you don't want and his value is overly high, and you're going, Christ, he's worth that much, I'll sell him then. And I'm thinking, you're never going to get that much money for him because you won't be able to sell him. I had it with Loftus-Cheek in the AC Milan.
Oh yeah, you did, yeah.
He was worth 15 million, and he ended up going for free transfer 3 seasons later because I could not sell him, which was ridiculous. Now you can hire one of these intermediaries, but the best bit about it is this. in my opinion. So when you hire them, we can see the scope here, which obviously, from what I kind of like interpret of, the higher it is from regional down to worldwide agent would be the best. That's obviously going to be more chance of them being able to sell the player or find a club to be able to sell the player to.
And then obviously they're going to charge you the most as well.
Which then they'll charge more of a fee. And we can see here 9% for that intermediary fee. So I wonder whether, like, obviously, I don't know whether it's written down in here because I haven't, it's been a while since I've read all this, but I wonder whether you can hire intermediary, and if it doesn't sell, you can hire another one.
Yeah. I would like to think so, because if you went for the, is it regional agent?
Yeah, which would be a local.
So it's going to be cheap, because if you haven't got a lot of finances and you want to get as much money in as you possibly can, you can hire the region one. I would like to think that, and if it doesn't sell, then you go, all right, I can't sell that player. So the following season, you might better hire another one to try and sell that player again.
Yeah, or even the same transfer window,
or the same transfer,
for the continental one.
Yeah, and then go for the that's what I would like, because it's got to be no sell, no fee, innit? I would.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So
in real life, it would be the case of like, you know, we can't sell the player because of you. I'm just going to hire somebody else. That's what would happen in real life. You're not getting the job done. You're fired.
Yeah.
I'm going to get this guy in. He's got a better reputation of selling players.
Because I would say it's not as you're in. I wouldn't say you're hiring them, because they're not going to be part of your team.
Yes. Yeah.
You're just using them as an agent, I would say.
Yes.
That's more what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a freelancer, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like selling your house, isn't it? They're nothing to do with you. You just get them in.
Yeah.
I want to sell my house. What can you do? And you pay them if they sell it. But you can go to another agency and say, well, them. So can you try and sell my house now?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I think it would be like.
Yeah. So I think that's a really good addition.
Yeah.
So out of 5 for the intermediaries.
I want to give that 5.
Yeah.
Because I think that will work for both of us really good for what we do.
Yeah, I agree. I'm giving that a 5 too. And especially if it works how we kind of interpret it, I think that's really bloody good.
Yeah. Go back to the 10% then, where you've highlighted the 10%. And overall transfers.
The cost is shown throughout the process, right from the initial inbox time indicating that the bid has been received, right through to the transfer completion news item. So you'll always know how much it's going to cost you.
Yeah.
So that's the commission that you're given.
So it virtually is no sell, no fee then. Really.
Yeah.
So that's what we wanted to be here, really, innit?
I agree. So that, for me, is fantastic addition.
Well done.
I like that a lot. So the offer out players via transfer room. So that's a new thing in the game now, the transfer room, which I believe they've like teamed up with this transfer room like company or something like that. But it's now going to be a digital service that replace the previous offer to clubs, which we were using before quite often. In the game, as a simple way to reach out to other clubs with players that you want to sell. This is not an instant option, as the clubs won't be all online looking at the system every minute of every day, but your staff will collate the offers together and you can inform of any interest in good time. So the clubs are more likely to be using it at different points of the season and transfer windows, so responses may come in quickly at some times than others. So this is more of like the kind of like deadline day. You know, when on deadline day it always comes up rumors and stuff like that. This is going to be more like that instead of the offer player out situation.
Yeah.
It's going to be more of like a market, kind of like the transfer market where you transfer list players. This is going to be very similar to that, but yeah, I don't really know what it's going to be.
I mean, the only thing I would say with that as well, where they're saying they can make offers anywhere through a season, that to us ain't going to make much difference, because we do like our challenges. We set it up to the transfer window and then we simulate the whole season then, don't we? So there could be a lot going on beyond the scenes that we don't see. Yeah. But I still think it's good.
Yeah, during mid-season it might be all right.
Yeah.
Something to note is that using the intermediary ultimatum functionality outlined above doesn't preclude you from offering players out via the transfer room, so you can do both.
Yeah,
which is good.
Yeah,
I'm wondering then how it determines where the interest came from, because if you use the intermediary but then you sell them via the transfer room, is it going to be like the intermediary is like, well, you sold the player, I want my 5%, or whatever it is. This is just the start of transfer room's integration to Football Manager, with much more to come into the future. What I'm hoping is that this is not like the squad planner of last year, where it's an added thing into the game, and recruitment focus is very similar actually, because I very rarely use recruitment focus. So I think in our rebuilds, I think we've used it recently a couple of times, but before you didn't even see that, did you? You know, and we went like doing rebuilds without ever using it.
Yeah.
So I'm really hoping it's not going to be one of those things where it's like it's pointless using it. I really hope there is some form of like value from having that. I can't sell a player normally. I want to sell a player. I'm going to use the transfer room.
Yeah.
And it like no, and I know if I put them on the transfer room, I will drum up interest, etc. Whether it be now, whether it be in a month's time. I hope that's the case.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
So the transfer room, all in total, I mean, bringing your transfer tools together. So this is, upgrading the existing agent's functionality and introducing intermediaries as less to make a few changes to the transfer status screen. Clubs considering a move for one of your players will now be classed as active interest or rumored interest rather than major or minor. So it's just wordplay, really, now. That bit.
It's still the same.
Yeah. You'll also now see a contextual reason for a club's interest. So, for example, if you, as a player, was not a club's first choice target in a given position, that would qualify as rumoured interest. So that's what that basically
that used
means.
to really bug me, didn't it? When it used to come up as a rumour he was interested in buying one of my players, and it was a player that I wanted to sell, I'd think, oh, great. And I'd be saying to you, well, have they come in with the offer yet? Have they come in with the offer yet? And you'd be going, no, it was only a rumour. Well, don't put it on there then. They're not going to put a bid in.
That's right. So I hope that has like more clarity to that, really, and it makes it easier to sell players and obviously to understand things. What I wish didn't happen as much as what does in this game is when you see clubs want a player but they don't put an offer in, and then you put an offer in, then they put the offer in.
It drives you mad, that thing.
Infuriates me. Absolutely infuriates me.
Oh, it does make me laugh, that one.
I know that happens in real life in some scenarios, because Manchester United is one of the main culprits for it. Oh, we're rumoured in the player, and then all of a sudden Liverpool comes in and rumoured in that player, and then we'll go, oh, no, we wanted him. And then we're like, too late.
Or this season, it's been Chelsea, innit?
Yeah. Yeah, Chelsea. But Chelsea's been good at it, though.
Yeah.
They literally just come in and stealing players from under Liverpool's nose.
Yeah.
But I know that happens in real life. I hope it doesn't happen as much. I think
sometimes players teams have got players in mind, and they've probably done their own work, and they've gone out and done all the scouting and all that, and they've got them in mind. Right, this player's good. This player, we're interested in this, but it doesn't get publicised, and then all of a sudden, Man United will come in for a player, and they'll go, fuck, Man United's coming in for that player. We've now got to show interest now.
Yeah.
In real life, that's what I think happens.
Yes, I agree.
But how do they put that into the computer?
Yeah.
So
it's difficult, isn't it? It's a program, I guess. But the transfer room overall, I mean, I'm not going to give that too high. 2.5, 3 for me, because I don't think I'll be using it.
I'm going to go 2.
2.
It doesn't affect me at all.
All right. Individual player targets and interaction logic. I'll be honest, I don't think this is going to affect us at all.
No.
So this is like when you're offering contracts and stuff, and even when you loan players out, get them targets and stuff. I can't see me using this that much.
Well, the majority of the time when we buy a player in, we buy him because we want him for that position, don't we? So we're not going to give him targets of scoring 20 goals. Like that. We want you in our team. Is 50 grand a week, will you sign for us? Yes, mate, thank you.
Yeah, this is for like players who are going to be on the fringes of your team with like value in the future. I might use it in like other saves, but maybe just not in rebuilds, because you can see here, like, regular playing time, he's got a regular starting role, but he'll become an important player if he scores 15 league goals.
Yeah,
it's a good addition. I just don't know how much it's going to affect the way I play a game or our rebuilds, to be fair. So yeah, I mean, overall this, I'm going to give it a 3 because I don't think it looks too bad, but I don't know whether I use it that much.
I'll go the same as you then, 3.
Yeah. The bit down the bottom, better conversations with interaction logics. I really hope it does change, but I can just see it being exactly the same thing. Like, I don't know, to be honest. I'm really unsure with things like that, when it's like the how you speak to players, etc. And to be honest, I don't really use them that much.
No,
I very rarely talk to a player unless it's like the red thing comes up and I can't skip it. Like, oh.
Yeah,
and then I end up putting my foot in it normally, which we've seen recently in a very recent.
Or push the wrong button.
Yeah, so in the Galatasaray versus Fenerbahce rebuild battle, which is coming out, I accidentally pressed the wrong button. So a player came to me and said, I want a new contract. I said, that's fine. Went to offer him a new contract and pressed walk away instead of confirm. And I was like, no. and then he wanted to leave, and then other players is coming in and go, I don't like how you treated him.
And I do not approve of the things I've read from others about the things they've read from you. Not one bit, sir.
And I was like, it's all going wrong. Oh, God.
That was
One
so
little
funny.
click of a button. All right. Set pieces. I did a video on this. I'm quite happy with it, to be fair. We get quite a lot of stick every now and then, Dad, for using near post corners, etc. Oh, I know I got a lot more stick than what you've had.
Hey, in real football, you got tactic coaches who do tactics for their team, whether it's set pieces, whether it's corners, whether it's defending. We're just doing what happens in real life. If we got the option to do it for corners, which we're going to do, you do it.
Yeah.
So this is, in both of our opinions, we like this, don't we?
Yeah, this is going to be different. Whether it's going to be game breaking or exploitive, we don't know yet until it comes out.
Yeah.
Because, what their idea is to refresh it so it will stop the near post corner with a decoy or far post corner with a decoy from working too well, so your defender gets 25 goals a season. I hope it does change, because obviously that isn't as realistic. However, the change that they've implemented does look very good. So the powerful new voice of your backroom staff is a set piece coach. It is a real life staff role. So I'm glad they've implemented it into the game.
Yeah.
I like the fact that they've added a set piece attribute for coaching, because obviously that's going to be needed.
Yeah.
And highlighted here are the 5 attributes, which are going to be necessary to be a good set piece coach. So obviously tactical knowledge and set pieces are going to be the 2 main ones. The rest are more of a personal, how you come across to players, etc., determination, discipline, and motivation. So overall, the set piece coach, great addition to the game.
100%.
5 out of 5 from me.
5 for me as well, yeah.
Yeah, easy one.
Looking forward to using that.
I agree. So because obviously we can look at data now and look, we're not scoring enough on corners. How good's my set piece coach? He looks terrible. Hire a new one.
Yeah.
Hopefully you see a change. That's what I'd like to happen.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see the player. What I hope happens is the next part, when you do the set pieces and they give you loads of different routines, I hope that there's hundreds and hundreds of different routines.
Yeah.
Because the worst scenario would be is there's 5 routines, and because obviously the set piece coach has an attribute out of 18, obviously they have a star rating of a staff role. The worst scenario would be a 5-star staff role has these exact routines. A 4-star staff role has these exact routines. And whatever one you get that routine every single time.
Yeah.
I want it to be like there's hundreds of routines, and you just it's a little bit lucky.
Yeah.
Whatever you get, but it's also based on, because there's things implemented into the game of like favorite formation and favorite style of play. I hope all that plays a part in it.
Definitely, yeah.
That would be great, because then it would just make it every time you hire a new set piece coach, it will make it different. It won't feel repetitive.
Well, the one thing I've learnt through playing with you now on these games is you buy players for certain positions.
Yeah.
So no player is the same.
No.
So if you got a routine or a new tactic to play with, there might be tactics that they can't play with the players that you've got.
Yeah.
So you've got to adapt to the players that you've got, and that's the hardest thing I've got my head around, isn't it? Recently?
Yes. Yeah.
Is adjusting my tactics to the players that I've got. So I'm hoping that this would do that as well. Like you said, if there's loads of routines, then surely your team will fit into a tactic that this coach has got.
And depending on how good his tactical knowledge is and how good he's at coaching set pieces will determine how good the routines he's come up with is to your team.
Yeah.
I really hope that that's the scenario. So as we've pictured here, we've got like questions that you'll be asked when you go onto the set piece coaches, which all of them I'm fine with. I just wish the buttons were bloody bigger.
Yeah, because I'm struggling to read that.
Yeah, look at all that free space. People are going, oh, you can upgrade that. No, just make these things, these 3 boxes, just make them bigger.
Yeah.
Don't understand it, but there we go. But anyway, what they are actually on there is fine. The defend the box, counter-attack balance, because this is obviously what a real-life manager is going to talk about, whether they want to do that. The far post, central, near post. I think they could have had more options for this.
Yeah.
Because what they aren't considering from this, short corner, edge of the box.
Yeah.
Ones where they give a short corner and they cut it back to somebody to cross to give a different angle.
Yeah.
That's what I'd like to see as well.
Yeah.
But
we're already picking up a few already.
How do they determine that when it's this? Because in this version of the set pieces, you can go short from every corner.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people do it. It used to be really good for PvP, going short corner.
Yeah.
Don't know why, it just really worked. But I'm not seeing an option for that now.
You're already creating what could be a fault in this by if that's the only tactics you can defend corners from
or attack corners from.
Yeah, I would automatically go no. I would go do short corners then.
Yeah.
If it's there to use, because if you can't defend short corners.
No, this is attacking.
Oh, this is attacking corners.
Yeah. So
right.
far post, central, or near post. It doesn't say that. Oh, why don't we go short?
Yeah. Oh, I'm saying with you now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was you're defending it, so I would do attacking it.
But what I will say is this is how you want the ball to be delivered from attacking set pieces. So it could be one of the routines is he goes short, and then it gets. But there's no option for retain, because in the throw-in section, which we'll see, there's an option for if you're a ball possession club, you could opt to retain the possession from a throw-in, or you can work the line.
Right.
Which was a callback to when you were one of our assistant managers and I was playing on the wing. Work the line, Luke. And I was like, fucking hell, throw it to me then. I'll try and header it or whatever. But the retain possession option is there for clubs who want to retain the possession in throw-ins.
Yeah.
Why isn't there retain possession for corners? Because some clubs we see
if you
don't chuck the ball in the box at corners.
No, they don't. If you haven't got tall defenders coming in, you're not going to chuck a ball in, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, it doesn't show it here, but maybe in the routines there might be an option for that. Again, I like this, the transition of defend transition, stay high or balanced when you're how much you want to defend or leave back while you're attacking set pieces, and then the in-swinger, out-swinger option. So that's obviously the 5 questions that you'll get asked.
I like that, the in-swinger and out-swinger.
Yeah. It's kind of... in a way, it makes sense because you could have done that anyway with the previous one. But I think it just makes it easier, so ease of use, really. But this is a lot better. The way you can now rank your aerial threats instead of having it done by position, because this is the one thing that affects us quite a lot when we do rebuilds, isn't it? We have like our striker who we've got who's quite good in the air. So Dad will go, all right, can you do my corner so he's attacking my near post? And then it's like, well, what side are you playing him on, right or left striker? Because that's then going to determine who attacks that.
Yeah.
And the trouble is, when they get substituted on the 70th minute, or you've got an injury, and then you bring on your 5'9", striker who's a substitute.
He's then attacking the corners. And
he's going to be the one attacking.
Yeah.
Whereas this now negates that because it's down to aerial threats. So you then have your routine selected here. You got your aerial threat wherever you need it to be. And then it's ranked. So Rodri is in this example, would be the one that you were aiming the ball at. If Rodri's not available, Ruben Diaz takes that place. That's very good addition.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, and
that's a lot better.
Yeah, and you can do that for trackers and counter-attackers as well.
Yeah.
So, overall for me, that is a 5 out of 5, that one.
Yeah, I'm going to go 5 on that one as well.
Definitely,
really like
that.
That's really good, yeah.
The routines itself, obviously this is only a screenshot. We haven't been shown too much. I'd like to think it's, like we mentioned, a lot of in-depth and many routines and stuff like that. I really hope it is, because then it just makes the game way more fun with more options, and it makes every save feel a little bit different then. But yeah, we'll see what that one's like. All right, so more authentic approach to throw-ins. As I mentioned, you can now retain the possession instead of work the line, etc.
I think that's really good though, because if you've got a very good tactic that you keep the ball a lot more, you're going to want that throw in for a start ready.
Yeah, I agree. So that's very good. Streamline your creative talents. That's like the corner takers, etc. So, and dictating your level of responsibility. That's basically when you set things up for the set pieces in the staff responsibilities, which we kind of do use quite a lot. And then something that we won't use, but a lot of like data and tactical people will use, is when you look at your rival set piece strengths and stuff like that. I think that's something that we probably won't use that much, but I do think it's a good addition to the game, because just because we don't use it doesn't mean anybody else won't be using it.
Well, there's some people who really look into everything in these games, isn't it? So
yeah,
it's good for them. Yeah, definitely.
The final one then, a deep dive into the football true emotion, match play authenticity, and positional play. Some of this is a little bit useless to us because when we are doing our rebuilds, you don't necessarily watch any of the games. That's more for when I'm playing and doing like the series stuff, like the Barcelona series, for example. I watch a lot of the games. But Yeah, so this is more to do with that and how it kind of looks, etc. But we can still talk about it because the ball physics, match day lighting and stuff is all as to the immersion. It looks good, yeah, absolutely. Delivering new avenues for attacking play. So this is talking about how the players react to tactical positions. So they'll be moving space, which is something that we can now think about, because I genuinely, when I seen this, I thought of you straight away. The reason for it is because you take the tactics too literal, whereas I take it as what works in Football Manager. Whereas now they're building towards it being played like it's literal, so they're becoming more the same. Because you'll go, I'll have an advanced playmaker. And I'm thinking I don't ever use an advanced playmaker because they're not very good in the game. Whereas this now suggests the advanced playmaker will allow for you to have players like the Volante on attack, a role that I love, and they actually interact with each other and know what they're doing, so they'll work together. And I think this might benefit you a little bit more because now they're going to do exactly what they say on the tin and what you think they do, compared to what I always go, I know that's not going to do the same thing.
Which is good then.
Player roles. There's been a couple of player roles adjusted and changed, which is the inverted fullback. Here we go. So a modern evolution. The inverted fullback, which is basically the Kyle Walker role, which was highly requested in the forums. So thank you very much to everybody who writes stuff in the forums. Traditional fullback when defending, but in possession, transition to become a third central defender.
Very good.
We use players very much like that. Now we can consider doing that. If we have one side that's more attacking, we can go, okay, we want the inverted fullback to sit in to make to create a back three.
Definitely,
yeah.
I mean, that's one of the things that we do worry about with some of the tactics. Are we defensive enough for that league that we're in? Isn't it? We want to be more attacking because we haven't done well one season. So you think, well, we want to be more attacking, but I don't want to leave myself open at the back.
That's right.
So this helps us with that. Definitely,
this is very much. There was a lot of people who, when I used to do videos on what we want to see in FN24, we were saying, I want to see a tactic page of when I'm out of possession or in transition to a tactic page when I'm in possession, so I can change the tactic. This basically negates that and gives you the option to do that through different player roles, and I think that's a better way of doing it, to be fair. Like, if you want to go from a back four into a back three when you got the ball, you use the inverted fullback, etc. Another way of doing it, when we go down here, is the enhanced libero, the John Stones role.
Brilliant. Again.
Your centre defender moving up and going forward up the pitch, and they put a lovely little video up here which kind of shows that, to be fair. If you watch John Stones in this position here, as the play goes on, you'll see him, he's in line with the centre defensive midfielder right now, Rodri, as another centre mid, and we go for a back three when in possession. That's exactly what, the role that he does in real life is, and you can see it. If it works like that in game, that's absolutely perfect for me. That's how I want it to be. Now we've got a back three, Kyle Walker's tucking in a little bit, and John Stones sits in a DM role, which obviously for defensive things is quite good, because we always mention, you always go, am I leaving my defense too exploitive and stuff like that. We know if you want to use an enhanced libero, that gives you an option to give you an extra CDM as much. Really.
Definitely. So you can push further up the field, so you can pressurise the opposing side a lot further up the pitch and not having to worry about what's going on behind you.
I agree. So in regards to how it's going to affect us doing the rebuilds, I think it's definitely something that I'll definitely be trying to use, and I think probably you as well, with your knowledge of how it works, etc. I like that. So overall, with the players on this page, the how the players react, the inverted fullback, and the enhanced libero, what would you give that out of 5?
Big 5.
5 for you?
100%.
Okay, I'm going to give it a 4, mainly because I think that crossover of what's real life and how it works in the game, I need to see it and how it works and see results of it working and not be too exploitive first to say that it's a good thing to add to the game. But I like it that it's being put into the game, especially that libero one. I think that's phenomenal.
Definitely.
Because that's, I'd say, I know John Stones really put a thing on it recently, but you see, I've seen that quite a few times in football, where you see, a centre midfielder pop up into centre mid and stuff like that, or centre back side pop up into centre mid and help out, and it creates like a back three. I think the more fluidity of tactics in the game, and I'm excited to see what the tactic creators in FM community can produce.
When you look at it, they use Man City there as a very good example. Over 2 seasons, how Man City's tactics changed, didn't it? Because
they were using inverted. They were the reason why inverted wingbacks were in the game.
Well, yeah. I mean, one season you had Man City with no striker.
Yeah.
Won the league. Then the following season they go and buy Haaland. Haaland today.
Yeah.
And so they've got to transfer their team now to have a striker who's going to sit up there, and that's what he's going to do, score the goal. So what do? They just bring John Stones in and just put him in that position, and then he goes in forward then.
Yeah.
So they just fill the gap with that. They've got to take a player out to put it up strong.
Yeah.
Brilliant. 2 different seasons, 2 different tactics, same result.
He's quite good at his job, Pep Guardiola, isn't he?
Yeah, I've learned everything off him, I tell you, mate.
Yeah. Right, there we go. What are your thoughts? Let us know down in the comments section. I hope you enjoyed this more of like a podcast style of ways of talking about the stuff that's coming out in Football Manager. If you do enjoy actually us talking like this instead of actually playing the game, we do have a podcast. It is on the Patreon or the channel members. For just £3, you can sign up to either patreon.com/MegaLukeGaming, or on the channel members, you can just press join and you can watch the Patreon or podcast,
Yeah.
every single week that we do.
If there's anything you want us to talk about, just let us know as well.
Yeah, and we talk quite a lot about all the football stuff that's happening in real life as well as the game, etc., all the news and stuff like that. So yeah, if that's something that you'd like to see, then please let us know or join up and support. You help Dad be here to actually record these videos, so I really do appreciate that. And of course,
yeah, thank you.
We're getting over close now, Dad, to 100,000 subscribers.
Yeah, we're really close, isn't we?
Yeah, I'm about 6,000 away as I'm recording.
Come on, keep pushing that button.
6,000
That's
away.
all it is. It's just push a button. There's nothing
Pushing
else.
the bottom.
Yeah.
So if you can get us there to that 100,000 subscriber mark, so we can get a plaque on that wall behind us, we'd really appreciate it. We'll see you soon for another one. Bye bye.